There are a few aspects to Warframe that might seem complex or perhaps even intimidating coming from a new player's perspective. So today, in the hope of alleviating that somewhat, we're going to be using the Hex Shotgun as a basis for a complete weapon modding guide. That said though, please keep in mind that this guide is aimed entirely, almost entirely at new players. If you want a quick build to slap on your Hex, this is not the best place for it, but if you want to learn, you came to the right place. We're gonna be discussing the damage system, vulnerabilities, resistances, status chance, status effects, enemy defenses, and so on and so forth. As always, my name is Leyzar, and buckle up my friends, it's gonna be a long one. Let's begin by checking out how the weapon handles without any mods equipped, and for that, just a couple of free shots. A small disclaimer before we start, however. I'm gonna start talking really quick in the interest of cramming in as much information as possible in the shortest amount of time, so apologies if I butcher the English language a tad too much. The Hex Shotgun has a magazine of 4 total, so as you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, then you're looking at a reload of 2 seconds. While playing with a weapon which was between Mastery Rank 4 and Mastery Rank 10, 11, this was my only issue with this weapon. Every time I thought I got an enemy beat it and I just needed one more shot in him, my weapon started reloading. And that's a bit of an issue, but thankfully the Vacor Heck, the big brother, will be fixing this issue at a higher mastery level. The recoil on the weapon is decent considering it's a shotgun, my friend, so you're gonna have to be nice, close and personal with your target to get the most amount of damage. While the weapon may not showcase how many pellets it fires in a wall, which is kinda strange, by default you're looking at 7 little balls fired into your target. And that's pretty much it for functionality. Let's jump into stats and have a closer look at what we're dealing with. Mod capacity, as soon as you finish your Hex Shotgun, it's gonna be 30 out of 30. Mine is 60 out of 60. Why is that? Jump into actions, install the Auto King Catalyst, this will be doubling your mod capacity. This is a necessary step to getting the most out of basically any weapon or any frame. But frames don't have a catalyst, they have a reactor. So there you go. You might not have a catalyst ready right now. You can farm this one from Nightwave primarily. You can pay 20 plat to have one installed. You can also get a blueprint from the daily sortie if you have access to the sortie. Just keep in mind that that one still needs to be built. So there's that. Next to the upgraded section, you will find the auto install button. Please do not touch this button. Whatever you do, this is horrible. A lot of players coming into Warframe simply hit auto install. They get a garbage build on their weapon with whatever the hell mods they have, right? And then they think that their weapons are not powerful simply because auto install cannot do a great job right now, depending on the circumstances, depending on the situation. Again, learn how to mod your weapons properly. Do not use auto install, or do so at your own risk. Just don't complain about the quality of your weapons. Polarization. What the hell is this anyway? Take a look. This is the process of formaing a weapon. As you can see, my weapon right now has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 forma total. That's because I overrided one forma. It used to have a dash, now it has another V. There are 2 slots on my weapon which don't have any symbol. For example, if I take a mod, let's take this one. Seeking Force, for example, it's gonna drain the stated amount, 15 out of my 60, so I'm left with 45. But if I move this one over a non-matching slot, careful at the red color, right? Boom, it's gonna drain even more. But of course this has a vice versa effect. Let's take Prime Ravage. This one has a V symbol on it. As you can see, it goes to green and it's gonna drain half the stated amount on the mod, rounded up. Okay, so for example, if I have something with 15, like for example the multi-shot mod Hell's Chamber, this one has 15. If I go over a matching slot, it's gonna go down to 8. So this is why we put forma on our weapon. Basically to cram in as many and as powerful mods as we can on our, well, basically collection. So we can get them really powerful and all what not. Again, the process, you go into actions, you hit polarization. If you do not have a forma or the necessary number of forma, you get a blueprint for forma by opening relics, but you still have to build the forma. In order to apply a forma to a weapon, as it says here, your weapon needs to be the rank of 30, maximum rank of 30, or at least a rank of 30, because there are some weapons which can go over the rank of 30. More on that some other time. After you apply your forma, you choose your symbol, right, and you apply the forma, your weapon is gonna go down to rank nothing, and you have to re-level it again, reformat it again, and so on and so forth. Now, my weapon has been formatted 7 times, but for the weapon build, I'm recommending you guys 2 forma will be more than enough. Simply plug in 2 V symbols or Madurai. Madurai is the most common symbol you're going to be forming on weapons. Vazarin only if you have a Riven for it most of the cases, and Naramon would be the second most popular. Ignore the Riven and everything else for now. We're going to be talking about that just a tad later. Now, weapons in Warframe also have one additional slot that needs to be unlocked by itself. This one right here. Probably this one is locked for you. This is the Weapon Exilus mod slot. On most weapons, this slot right here is entirely pointless. On some weapons, however, it is very powerful, and we're going to be talking about that just a tad later. Back to actions. Swap polarity. Did you know you can swap polarity? So for example, if you have a symbol here that you don't want here and you want it here instead, you can do this. This costs you absolutely nothing. The Exilus polarity cannot be swapped, however, so bear that one in mind. Let's see, there's one more thing which I do need to talk about, the focus lens. I cannot go into details on this one because it would mean spoilers for you guys, and I'm not into spoiling the story. One of the greatest aspects, perhaps, to Warframe is the main storyline, or so the community keeps telling me. Forget about this one for now. It does not affect the performance of your weapon. It's tied into some voodoo magic schools that you're gonna learn later on about. Back to the weapon itself, what do we got here? Accuracy of 9.1. This is a shotgun and this is a very low accuracy, but we don't care because we're going to be using close to our targets anyway, so it doesn't really matter all that much. But I do want to show you one specific mod that can decrease your accuracy even further. This one is called Vicious Spread. You will see that it gets you 90% extra damage, so all of the numbers in my damage section have increased. I do more impact, more puncture, more slash, and I'll give you more details on that later. And of course the total damage has been increased by a huge amount, by 90%. But this mod also has another stat, plus 60% spread, and that might seem like a positive stat. It's actually a negative because it reduces the accuracy of the weapon. This specific mod has counterparts to secondary weapons, to pistols. Alright, you might know them as pistols. Magnum Force basically does kind of the same thing. On rifles, you have your heavy caliber, which mostly does the same thing. You get how that one works. This is a corrupted mod. Corrupted mods can be, on the right build, in the right setup, extremely powerful. So bear that one in mind. If you don't know how to farm corrupted mods in Warframe, link in the cards right now. You gotta get yourself a few in your collection. Next, we're going to be talking about critical chance in Warframe. There's a lot to talk about here, but basically the 10% base critical chance for the Hex shotgun is a bit on the low side. If I have a look on my critical mods, Blunderbus. The community has been asking for a prime version to this one for the longest while, and prime versions are simply souped up versions of the normal ones. For example, ignore Blunderbuss, you got Ravage with critical damage, but for this one, only 60%, but I have a prime version. I cannot equip both of them at the same time, but if I have the prime version, I'm gonna be taking 110% critical damage instead of 60%. Prime mods, 90% of them, or most of them, are obtained from Battlekey Tier, the Void Trader, every 2 weeks, so bear that one in mind. Back to Blunderbuss, 90% critical chance, so I'm going only to 19%. It's not really worth it. There is one more mod when it comes to shotgun critical mods, which is more powerful than this one from a stat perspective, and that one is called Laser Sight. Careful, I can double stack these if I so desire. This one gives me 120%. Fantastic, a whole lot better than 90%, but this one has a condition on it. Like you'll see a lot of mods have conditions. On headshot, only on headshot, 120% critical chance when aiming for 9 seconds. You will never see that 120% being applied here to the mod slot. Okay, you'll never see it in the mod screen. You're only gonna feel it in actual gameplay. You probably don't have this mod, especially if you're newer to Warframe. This one is only obtained from the Acolyte event, but it is a tradable mod, and on the trade chat you're looking at 5, maximum of 10 plat if you want to buy this one. I would encourage you pick this one up, but first finish this video and make yourself kind of like a shopping list of mods or farming list of mods. Let's move on. Critical multiplier. Of course, critical chance without critical damage, critical multiplier, is entirely worthless. Okay, so it doesn't matter if I crit if I don't hit hard. There's a lot to talk about multipliers when it comes to critical chance and so on and so forth. So in the interest of not making a 2-hour long video, I'll link in the cards right now for a full tutorial that only tackles critical chance and critical damage. You might see some weapons going over 100% critical chance and you're gonna say, hey, that's a waste, right? You already got guaranteed crits, but that's not the case because in Warframe you have several tiers of crit. Actually, there's an infinite number of crit tiers in Warframe. Believe it or not, again, you have a full tutorial on crit and critical damage and multipliers that apply in the cards. Moving on, fall off between 10 and 20. God damn it, between 10 and 20 what? Fish, poles, what exactly? It's meters. Okay, they refer to meters. Everything in Warframe normally is expressed in meters, but they simply refuse to put an M there. So your fall off damage means you're going to be losing damage between 10 and 20 meters. It stabilizes at 20. Of course, you don't want to lose any of that damage, so make sure you're within 10 meters of your target. The fall off on a weapon, on this specific weapon, actually can be increased, so you can hit from further away. Let's talk about the Weapon Exilus mod slot since we're here. One of the decent mods that you can put into this one is called Fatal Acceleration. You don't need to put it in there, but you can because of the little Weapon Exilus symbol on top of the mod. You see that little thing on top of the mod? Yeah, basically that. I'm putting over a non-matching slot, so it's going to drain 9 instead of 7. 40% projectile flight speed, which is a bit of a twist because the Hex Shotgun is a hit scan weapon. Okay, it's a hit scan weapon, but this will still apply. Fatal Acceleration with 40% projectile flight speed simply means you're going to a greater fall off between 14 and 28 meters. You can put this one in the Weapon Exilus mod slot, but from my point of view, on the Hex Shotgun, this mod is not worth unlocking. You gotta farm the Exilus unlocker thingy, or you gotta pay 20 plat to have it unlocked. From my point of view, it's not worth it on this specific weapon. On other weapons such as the Dragoon, definitely unlock this one because you can put a weapon augment into it. More on weapon augments just a little bit later. Fire rate 2.17, that is decent for this weapon. A magazine of 4. I already talked about this one. This is the only issue that you're probably gonna have from a usability perspective. Okay, only 4 shells is not enough, and then you go to the reload of 2 seconds. Multi-shot of 7. Again, the 7 little pellets you're gonna be firing by default. This will be increased with multi-shot effects. For example, Health Chamber. Multi-shot means multiple projectiles. Look at that, 120% extra. I'm gonna go to 15.4 pellets, and the damage also reflects that. Okay, more pellets, more damage. Here's another thing that you need to know. What does it mean 15.4? Is it gonna cut a fourth of a pellet and shoot it at a person? No, basically it means something like this. You got, with each and every shot, a guaranteed 15 pellets into your target, or fired in case you just missed or hit the wall, and a 40% chance per shot at a 16th pellet. You get it? For example, if I had even more multi-shot with Vigilante Armaments, I got a 19.6. 19 guaranteed, and per shot a 60% chance at a 20th pellet. You get how that one works? Hopefully I did a decent job at explaining that one. Oh, by the way, if you're enjoying the video, how about you drop a like, if it's useful to you and all what not. What else we got? Noise alarming. Of course, some weapons are silent, some are alarming. You can make this one silent if you wish with another Exilus mod, and this one is called Silent Battery. Some of us use it for kicks and giggles. Reduce the chance of enemy will hear gunfire by 100%. You see, it goes from alarming to silent. If you want to use it in stealth missions and all whatnot, spy missions. Reload of 2 seconds, again, it's decent. You can decrease that if you so desire. Again, the problem with the Heck is not necessarily that the reload is lengthy. The problem with the Heck is the fact that you got only 4 shells in a magazine. You can go with something like Tactical Pump and 30% reload speed. You also have something like Seeking Fury. This one is a bit more harder to get. If I remember correctly, you obtained this one from Nightmare Missions. Do not ignore Nightmare Missions. They're not that tough, and they give you really pretty mods. Like this one, 15% reload and plus 1.2 meters worth of punch through. Let's talk about punch through, because take a look at the weapon. A new stat appeared, Boom, 1.2 meters. Again, D doesn't say, but it's meters. Basically, your pellets will be going through your initial target and hit multiple. It's a form of AoE. Think of it like strike through, okay? Strike through, if you played Dota and stuff. So, there you go. You also got Chilling Reload. This is a favorite among the community. 60% cold and 40% reload speed. Reload down to 1.4, and you also get some cold damage on the weapon, which is reflected in the damage per projectile and of course in the total damage as well. Riven disposition, 4 little balls out of a possible of 5 little balls. Now my friends, I could spend at least 15 minutes talking about Riven mods, but link in the cards right now if you want to know the full scoop. Basically, it's kind of like this. The higher the Riven disposition, the more powerful the Rivens will be. The lower Riven disposition, the weaker the Rivens will be, the lower amount of stats on those specific Rivens. Now Riven mods, my friends, are mods which basically are individual to a weapon. Take a look at the name on this mod, Heck Acricon. It's only gonna work on 2 weapons, on the Heck and on the Vacor Heck. Okay, basically it has the Heck name on it. The stats on them are random, and again, look at that full tutorial if you want to know more on Rivens. If the Riven disposition was lower, 1 out of 5, I'm not going to be getting something like 102 critical damage on this one. I would be getting something like 40 or 50. You get how that one works. Riven disposition is decided by weapon popularity and updated every 3 months or so. Status per projectile. Each and every single pellet that you fire out of the weapon by default has a 10.7% chance of applying a status effect. What status effect? Well, to know what status effect, you gotta look at your damage types. What do you got? Impact, puncture, and slash. So that means I got a 10.7% chance per pellet, so you can multiply times 7 if you want to know your shot status chance to apply impact, puncture, and slash. New. One of them. Okay, one of them per application. It does not mean you cannot have multiple applications. Why not? Because at the end of the day, you are firing 7 pellets, and if you go over 100% status per projectile, then the same projectile can apply multiple statuses. Now let's talk about status priority, or better said, what effect will apply. This is decided by the value of your damage numbers right here. So the priority in this case is puncture has the highest chance of applying a status effect, followed by slash and then impact. Slash applies a damage over time effect to your target. It's currently the best IPS. They're called IPS because, well, impact, puncture, slash. They're the physical type, so IPS for short. Slash is the most powerful right now in Warframe, simply because it deals or can deal a whole lot of damage. When it comes to puncture, puncture's status effect will be reducing the damage that the enemy deals to you. Impact status effect basically staggers the targets all over the place. Honestly, it's the worst physical type in Warframe, and like most of the community, just outright doesn't like impact at all. Now, keep in mind that these are the status effects that these damage types can apply to your target. It has nothing to do with the damage that they already deal to the target. You're still going to be dealing all of this damage, but you also have a chance to apply the damage type's status effect. You get how that one works? Let me explain further. Let's say you're shooting a heavily armored target. Let me give you a clear example. We're going to be spawning in some corrupted heavy gunners level 100. Actually, level 50 for you guys is more than enough. We're going to pump up the level just a tad later. And let's also have a look at bombards. I want to show you something. We're going to go with the corrupted versions because the corrupted versions are the more powerful. Take a look at this right here, this screen. Alloy armor, 500. And then clone flesh. Underneath the alloy armor, the enemies have clone flesh. So if you have a way of removing the armor, you're gonna get to that clone flesh. And you're gonna see all sorts of symbols on this one. Take a look. You see this little symbol, the first one with a single plus? That is the symbol for puncture. A single plus means 25% extra damage. Remember what kind of elements we have on our Hex shotgun? It does have puncture. The largest amount of damage on it, 48 or something per projectile by default, is puncture damage. That damage will be getting amplified by 25% when hitting alloy armor, regardless of whatever it procs, regardless of status effects, okay? That's another ball game entirely. Cold also has 25%. Take a look at this symbol, radiation. It has 3 pluses. That means 75% extra damage to alloy armor. Basically, per plus, it's a 25%, and vice versa. Take a look at slash damage, minus 2 of them, 2 minuses. That means minus 50% damage done to alloy armor. Of course, not all targets are the same. These are the bombards, but the corrupted heavy gunners have a different type of armor, ferrite armor. Take a look at that one. Puncture damage will be dealing 2 pluses versus them, so 2 pluses means that 50% extra bonus damage, and you also got 3 pluses for the symbol of corrosive damage, 75%, and so on and so forth. So you get how that one works. Different damage types will be doing different amounts of damage depending on what you hit per se. What health type, what armor type, etc, etc. Even bosses have this thing. For example, Eidolons have alloy armor, which is why we built radiation versus them. Next up, the total damage is 525. The total damage is calculated. Basically, it takes all of this and multiplies it by number of projectiles. You get how that one works. It's finally time for modding, my friends. The first mod for shotguns, the most mandatory mod perhaps of all of them, let's say, is gonna be Point Blank. Point Blank, my friends, is a mandatory mod, and you do have a Prime version as well. Don't worry, I'm not gonna be putting on the Prime versions just yet, just so you can see how the weapon actually performs versus, let's say, lower level targets. This is a fantastic mod. You know why? It doesn't require a whole lot of endo. So if you're just starting out in Warframe right now, Point Blank is a good place to put in some endo into it. Again, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little dots total. There are other mods, for example, the Prime version. Take a look at that. You're gonna sink a whole lot more endo into something like this. The next mandatory mod is gonna be multi-shot. My friends, multi-shot is the best thing on 99% of the weapons. 99 because there is one weapon which multi-shot is actually worth avoiding on, but more on that some other time. Multi-shot, as before, increases the number of pellets that I'm gonna be firing. This is your second prio, okay? Prio 1, these two actually. Multi-shot together with damage. And again, you only got 5 little balls to fill out there with endo. So they're pretty cheap. We're not gonna go to critical chance and critical damage. From my point of view, I would still go with something cheap. Vigilante armaments. Also, 5 little balls, 60% multi-shot. Now, it's true, my friends, it's not as good as Hell's Chamber, definitely not. And all the mods that I'm showcasing right now, these are quote-unquote normal mods. Mods that can be found simply by playing through the game. If you got any friends that have been playing Warframe for at least a couple of months or something like that, ask them to give you these mods for free. Chances are they're gonna have loads of them. I mean, take a look at me. Multi-shot. I got 22 health chambers. I got nothing to do with these. They're not worth anything. Do not pay plat for them. Honestly, you should get them for free on PC, on console, whatever you guys are playing. We could go for crit now, but again, it's not really worth it from my point of view to go with crit simply because the base critical chance is a bit low. The base critical multiplier is not bad, but the base critical chance is low. You can offset this, however, with bonus additive after critical chance effects, but more on that some other time because I fear I might be confusing you a bit too much. Let's talk about elemental damage. Up until this point, we talked about physical damage, or the IPSs, but you got a lot of elementals in Warframe. Take a look at these puppies right here. Look at that. Electricity damage, ooh, toxin damage, heat damage, and so on and so forth. But which is better, and which exactly should I use? Because look at them, they're the same, right? 90% of whatever element. Well, the best element to apply to a weapon will depend on circumstances. You saw how I show you the armor types so you can understand exactly what deals more damage to what. Basically, that's how you mod your weapons. If you know you're going to be hitting something like Corrupted Heavy Gunners, you're going to be modding your weapon for corrosive damage and 75% bonus damage that it has. Now in Warframe, when it comes to elemental damage, you don't only have these 90% mods. Let's go corrosive. By the way, write the elemental combo you want to over here. Yeah, and you're gonna see the mods that make corrosive. You also got the 60-60 mods. 60-60 mods in Warframe are 4 of them for shotguns, 4 of them for secondary weapons, and 4 of them for rifles. You got your Toxic Barrage, look at that. Toxin, only 60%, but I got 60% status chance as well. So these are some very, very powerful mods. This one, for example, you can farm all the 60-60 Toxin mods from Corrupted Vor in the Void, which incidentally is also where you get your what's it called, Argon Crystal to build a hex shotgun. Okay, so if you could ask your party something like, hey guys, can we stay until Vor shows up because I would like a 60-60 Toxin mod, something like that. Normally they cost 5-10 plat. They're not very expensive, but they are powerful. Speaking about expensive though, unfortunately, my friends, Shell Shock is different. Shell Shock is the same as the Toxin one, only it gives you electricity. The problem, this one can only be farmed from the mission Elgar on the planet Eris. There, you gotta find all the free secret caches, then upon extraction, you got a 5% chance at getting this one or High Voltage. High Voltage is the exact same thing, only for rifles. Eventually you will need both of them, but Battle Kit here also brings these mods. He brings all the 60-60 electricity mods, okay, so there's 4 of them. You got for your primary weapons, as in shotguns and rifles, you got for your secondary weapons, as in pistols, and you have one for melee as well, called Voltaic Strike. There are 2 which cannot be farmed from the game. Voltaic Strike, the melee one, okay, and the second one is called Jolt, and that is for secondary weapons. Those 2 mods can only be obtained from Battle Kit here. If you see Battle bring the electricity mod, simply grab them. I would not recommend farming Nilgar Eris simply because I had a horrible experience with it and I got like one mod from like, I don't know, 100 runs, something like that. But other players were a lot more lucky, of course, is based on RNG. In this case, because I'm assuming that you don't have something like Prime mods, you don't have something like 60/60 mods, we're going to be using the 90 mods. So let's make that corrosive combination between electricity and toxin. What else can we do? Well, we got our elemental combo, we got our damage, we got our multi-shot, and again, these mods normally drop from just simply playing the game. However, contagious spread is a bit more rare. Just ask a friend for it. Again, don't pay more than 1 plat for it. It might be a bit more rarer. I don't know why this one doesn't drop as much as the other 90 mods. Let's talk about some usability options when it comes to modding, shall we? What about some reload speed? Well, I can add some chilling reload. Remember the one that I showed you guys earlier? Chilling reload. But if I add this one to the weapon, take a look at what happens. Oops. I messed up my elemental combos. Now I got viral and electricity. Why is that? Because elementals combine 2x2 on any weapon with the priority from top left to bottom right. That means what exactly? The cold on chilling reload got combined with toxin on contagious spread and formed viral damage, and the electricity is left all alone. If I was to add more elementals to the weapon, let's say heat with blaze, for example, the heat will be combining with the electricity and forming radiation, and now I got radiation and viral on my weapon. Elemental combos are always 2x2, okay? There are no 3 or 4 or anything like that, 2x2, and again the priority from top left to bottom right. Because if I am to switch places, blaze with chilling reload, take a look at the elemental combos. Gas and magnetic now. Back to radiation and viral, right? You get how that one works. You can make all sorts of elemental combos in Warframe. Each of them should theoretically have an advantage over the other, and each of them should be applied on a different scenario. For example, magnetic damage deals extra damage to shielded targets. The corpus, the bucket heads, okay, the one with the square heads and the shield. Those are the corpus. Against them, magnetic will be dealing extra damage to heavily to shielded targets, to shields basically. So you can get through the shields and do damage to their health. But you can also do that with gas damage. Gas damage proc is gonna be toxin, straight up toxin, and toxin bypasses shields and deals damage directly to enemies' health. Of course, you don't need to go through all of these troubles. You can simply just go with toxin, and that's it. You can even add more toxin if you so desire, and you know you're gonna be fighting some corpus, like so. Now let's finish off a build and go shoot some level 50s. I think that for an MR 4, 5, 6, 7, something like that, level 50 is more than eloquent. And we're going to be spawning in some corrupted heavy gunners, some infested, some corpus, basically a little bit from each major faction. So you might ask, okay, but if I'm shooting a little bit from every faction, what would be the ideal way to build an elemental combo? Because you said it depends on the armor that they have, etc. Well, unfortunately, my friends, mainline 2020 brought some rather hilarious changes. Before, we used to build depending on circumstances. Where are you going? Who are you shooting? We used to care about these things. But nowadays, if you just want to go for broke and be as safe as you possibly can, simply build viral damage on everything. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Viral damage will be performing well, basically any circumstances. Now let's see, what would be a simple build to go for? I got my 60/60 Toxic Barrage, I can go with Frigid Blast. This one is obtained from spy missions. Again, you're looking at 5 to 10 plat maximum. If you don't want to farm it, I would just simply farm it because again, it's not that difficult. By the way, again, the elemental combos, if you type them into the search bar, you're gonna get to see all the results. How about I go with a little bit of heat right now? Let me tell you a bit of a joke. A bit of a joke, it's not a joke, it's a fact actually. Right now in Warframe, the most powerful single element is gonna be heat on any weapon. We're not talking about the IPSs, okay? These are physical elements, these are elementals. Heat right now is the most powerful single elemental. It reduces some of the enemy's armor and it stacks on top of itself to deal a decent amount of damage. Right now in Warframe, viral plus heat is absolutely insane, so you can go for something like this. Blaze is one of the most powerful shotgun mods in Warframe, even though I don't use it a whole lot. Blaze is obtained by doing nightmare missions. You gotta get this mod. But let's say you don't have it. Man, I don't have Blaze. Okay, how about the 60/60 Toxin mod? Got that one? Use that one. Don't got that one? Go for 90% incendiary code. Don't got that one either? Play some more Warframe. Honestly, these are common mods for the most part, and there's no shame in not having them just yet. Trust me, you'll get plenty of them. Now, the last thing which I do want to do to the weapon is tackle some of that usability that it has. Again, if I can I get a higher magazine? Well, you can actually with something like burden magazine. Take a look at this one. You get 60% magazine capacity, minus 18% reload speed. Once again, this is one of those fancy corrupted mods. Honestly, it's not really worth it from my point of view. You do get a magazine of 6, but then again, the reload goes to 2.4. But if you want it, you can go with ammo stock. Take a look at this one. 60% magazine capacity. But hold on a second, isn't it the same amount as this one? Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of these corrupted mods currently are not balanced at all. For the longest time, Magnum Force was a joke. They buffed it, I think, last year. So take a look at what exactly you're putting on your weapon. The one argument you can make for something like this, hey, you can double stack. Oh, big freaking deal. Hooray for corrupted mods. You can double stack. Instead, what I'm going to be doing is increasing that reload speed with chilling reload, the one that I showed you earlier, 60% cold, which will be contributing to my overall viral damage. And keep in mind right now, my viral is proc priority number 1 because it has the highest value, 337. You might hear in some of my older videos something like impact, puncture, and slash have a 4 times greater chance at applying a status effect over elemental types. That is gone. Okay, butchered with mainline 2020. Another layer of death destroyed in Warframe. But I get salty, so we're not going to be talking about that. The last mod which I want to plant on this weapon is a little bit of punch through. People love punch through in Warframe. They go crazy over it. Seeking Force. Take a look at this one. 2.1 meters worth of punch through. That's going to mean some serious, well, some AoE damage as long as the basically more targets are behind my initial target. But from my point of view, I would go with Seeking Fury. Reload speed and 1.2 meters worth of punch through. Of course, 2.1 is better than 1.2, but you get reload speed as well. My friends, this would be a very, very basic build that you can go for. You can go for a critical chance if you so desire, and we're gonna do that next. But first, let's just test that out like this with a reload speed of 1.3 seconds. Oh, by the way, here's another option that you can go for. Remember what we talk about spread and we don't care about, we can go like this. Okay, so we can go like this. Seeking Fury actually might be a bit more expensive than Chilling Reload, so we're gonna go with Vicious Spread. Take a look at all that damage. Take a look, come on, take a look. 17,000 damage per each and every single shot. Proc priority, what is it? Viral, followed by Puncture, followed by Heat. Not ideal. If it was ideal, I would like to have Heat after Viral, ideally. But beggars can't be choosy, so there you go. We're going to be testing out the weapon like so. What do we got? We got level 50 Corrupted Heavy Gunners. Let's spawn in some, I don't know, Infested? What do you guys say to Ancient Healer? You guys like Ancient Healer? Yeah, I don't like him either. Go. And 4 of these. Okay, we got Ancient Healer, we got Crewman, we got Corrupted level 50s. I think 50s is enough for an MR4 weapon. Don't worry, we're going to be increasing it a little bit later. First off, let's have a look at these Guardian Eximuses. In Warframe, you have something called shield gating, okay? If you go for headshot, okay, shield gating doesn't really apply no more, but if you go for a body shot, it does apply a whole lot better. But of course, my friends, body shot, foot shot, whatever, I don't know, derriere shot like so is not really gonna matter for a build such as this on the Hex Shotgun. Take a look at this guy. I think he's got like less than 1% health. Normally is a one-shot, my friends, a one-shot. So take a look at the power of this beautiful, beautiful weapon. We got the Ancient Healer Schmeximus. Headshot is a kill, body shot is a kill. Beautiful, absolutely fantastic. Corrupted Heavy Goons. Nope. No longer a one-shot on the body shot. Well, what about a headshot? Will that kill it? Nope, still not. This highlights how powerful armor is in Warframe, and still is. These are some of the most toughest targets there are. These guys and Bombards. Now, Corrupted Heavy Gunners have a lot more EHP than Bombards, which is why we test on Corrupted Heavy Goons, so bear that one in mind. Again, for a basic build, I think this is more than enough for anybody looking to get into Warframe. If you're MR4 and you get your Hex Shotgun, aim for something like this. Why am I saying aim for something like this? It's gonna make you go for the 60/60 mods. It's gonna make you go for the Corrupted mods, okay? And it's gonna make you go for Nightmare missions as well. It's important to try out all of these aspects of Warframe and try to get your farm on, okay? Nightmare missions, 60/60s, Corrupted mods, and of course the normal mods that drop from normal missions. Oh, by the way, if you don't have Vigilante armaments, I see you guys asking, some of the newer guys, go down to see this, okay? Go down to see this, or simply ask somebody one for free. Honestly, why do people even charge money for this? They're super, super common. One thing that I did forget to explain, and I apologize, about Vigilante armaments, you see that 20% chance to enhance critical hits from primary weapons. It's a interesting mechanic in Warframe. Basically, it kind of works like this. If you get a crit, you get a chance to upgrade it to the next tier. The first tier of crits are yellow. The second tier of crits are orange. The third tier of crits are red. And the 256th tier of crits are also reds. You get how that one works. If you see purple damage on stuff, that is damage on overshields. I repeat, purple damage is damage on overshields, not another special tier of crits. Okay? You get how that one works. If you don't have a whole lot of endo, because I get it, you don't. Maximize your health chamber, okay? Leave it one from the top, leave point blank one from the top. These, the 60/60s, only require 3 points of endo, so super cheap. Leave vigilante armaments one from the top. I get it, you don't have all the endo right now. Trust me, just in a couple of weeks, okay, maybe months time, you're gonna get plenty of endo for whatever the hell you want to. So start off slow. Simply prioritize by doing these activities to get your mods. Now, we're not done just yet. We still gotta talk about a couple of mods. Introducing, my friends, the most powerful mod that you can have on this beautiful, beautiful weapon. Scatter Justice. Take a look at this one. 200% multi-shot and +1 justice. It also sounds cool because it's just, anyway. 200% multi-shot. Nothing in Warframe gives you 200% multi-shot. And this mod is only applicable to the Hex shotgun. There's a bit of a cry in the community by the fact that this cannot be equipped by the Vacor Heck. Okay, people want this on the Vacor Heck, I want this on the Vacor Heck, but only the normal version of the Heck can use this one with 200% multi-shot. It's glorious. I mean, take a look at Hell's Chamber, which is 120. It blows it out of the water, man. You can get this mod from the syndicate called Steel Meridian. Steel Meridian sells it for 25,000 standing. On the trade chat, PC, these mods go for about 10 to 15 plat. They are tradable, so even if you don't have the necessary standing with Steel Meridian, you can still buy it if you so desire. It's worth it. It's the most powerful. It's Prio 1. It's whatever you want for the Heck shotgun. And again, you're only going to be using it for the Heck shotgun. What about that justice though? What does justice mean anyway, Leyzar? It's extra damage. Well, in fact, it is extra damage, but to be completely frank with you, I don't know all effects by heart either, so I'm just gonna read off the wiki. Hold on, let me alt-tab and make a nice video. Yes. Okay, so the justice effect is associated with Steel Meridian Syndicate that is activated by acquiring affinity. Affinity in Warframe means XP, okay? The yellow stuff that you pick up from the ground, those triangle-looking thingies, something like that. With a syndicate weapon or a weapon equipped with a weapon augment mod. This is a weapon augment mod, okay? So the effect will be applying to our Heck shotgun. When triggered, all enemies within 25 meters of the player receive 1000 blast damage AoE. 25 meters, 1000 blast, with reduced accuracy by 30% for 6 seconds. The player also recovers 25% of their maximum health, not total health, not current health, maximum health, and the base armor is increased by 15% for 30 seconds. The base armor. You get what that one means, right? Your mods on your Warframe also make it more powerful. So it's absolutely freaking fantastic. This is the mod to have, and only the Heck can use it. Now, I wish I could show you this in the simulacrum, but there's no affinity gain in the simulacrum, so I can't show you the explosion. It's an AoE explosion around you. It may look like you're blowing wind. So, well, explosive wind. So there's that. But in the lower right hand side of the screen, next to my ammo, you see that the symbol for Steel Meridian appeared. That symbol will slowly get colored up in white, and when it's full or close to full, you're gonna know it's gonna come, right? And just a little bit more affinity, it will go boom, AoE damage. It's absolutely fantastic. It is the best mod you can equip on this weapon. Now let's repeat the earlier test, see if there's any difference. These guys would have gotten one shot anyway. I don't think it matters anyway. But for kicks and giggles, giggles, kicks, of course. Beetlejuice. You guys know Beetlejuice? You should know Beetlejuice. Or The Mask, man. You should see The Mask movie. I love that movie. Okay, can we get a one shot? Nope, still not a one shot. Oh, would you look at that? A one shot. Beautiful weapon. Absolutely fantastic. I almost forgot about Scatter Justice, but thankfully I remembered just now. Beautiful mod. Get this one or just buy it. Honestly, a nice 10-0 will offer it to you for free, because we know the older players in Warframe, that 25,000 standing, it's really not all that much to get with Steel Meridian. And with that, I conclude the new player portion of the vid. Now, what follows next is for the veterans or for the players that actually stuck with me up until this point because they're gonna understand what follows next. Daddy got Riven. Oh my god, check out this one, man. Multi-shot, damage, critical chance, and minus puncture. Imagine this one on the Vacor, boys. Absolutely freaking glorious. Now, some of you will say, hold on a second, man. Minus 108% of the puncture? That removes all the puncture from your weapon, and the hack was primarily based on puncture. Doesn't that reduce your damage by a whole lot? And you would be correct, but in Warframe, removing one element from the weapon, especially in IPS, especially impact, but it's puncture in this case, is extremely beneficial because it removes one of the possible procs from the table. You get how that one works? No longer do I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or whatever elements battling for procs. I just have 2 right now on this weapon. I got slash and impact. Now in this specific circumstance, it doesn't help me a whole lot. It helps a whole lot more on the Vacor, but that's a story for another time. The point is, right now in Warframe, minus IPS Rivens are extremely powerful. There are Rivens which are known to have a harmless negative. A negative that does not affect the weapon. This is not a harmless negative. This is a positive negative. I know, a positive negative. I can hear it, trust me. But if you get something like with minus 100% impact on a hack, then it is gonna be absolutely freaking fantastic, and players will want that Riven. Of course, just the negative is not enough. You also gotta get good stats on it. The ideal Riven for the normal version of the hack, from my humble point of view, is the following: multi-shot, damage, minus 100% impact. Okay, that would be the ideal Riven. If you get minus zoom, that's good. If you get, I don't know, minus something that doesn't affect it, that's also good. Careful with minus status duration if you're going for a slash build, like I'm going for a slash build. That's actually not gonna help you all that much because it will reduce the damage you're gonna be dealing with the weapon, since the slashes aren't gonna be lasting as much. This build focuses around crit, something that I told you guys not to do, but I got a crit Riven, and I can't possibly recommend going for crit builds when you don't have a crit Riven, and crit Riven for a new player, that doesn't really happen. Take a look at the MR on this one, MR 14. I got one more, MR 10. That's the lowest MR I have ever seen. The lowest MR I have ever seen on a Riven per se, or period, is MR 8. My friends, don't go out of your ways to get Rivens. I just do this for the sake of demonstration. Trust me, Warframe doesn't require this amount of power, okay, to get through it. Trust me, you're gonna have a good time without Rivens. Anywho. Introducing Hunter Munitions, one of the most overpowered mods in Warframe, and it has been like this for about 2 years now, so obviously D doesn't care about the fact that I cry about how powerful this weapon, this mod is. Let me tell you why it's so powerful. 30% chance to apply a slash on critical hit, never mind the set bonus. And you might say, so what, big deal? It is a big deal, because it basically bypasses the whole status chance and getting status effects. It gets you a status effect, the most powerful physical status effect on a crit. It goes through crit, not through status, and it gets you slash. That is why it's so powerful. The most common builds in Warframe right now for primaries all have Hunter Munitions on them. If you have a primary which has a decent amount of crit, it has to have Hunter Munitions on it because it makes it a lot more powerful. When it comes to more crit, I went with Laser Sight and Blunderbuss. In this case, of course, Scattering Just, it has to be here. And of course, more multi-shot with Hell's Chamber. And of course, this is a crit slash build with Hunter Munitions. To get a realistic test for a build such as this, we're going to be pumping up the level to 120. Same Ancient Healer, Corrupted, blah blah blah. First, the Corpus, just to get them out of the way really quick. There are more dangerous Corpus than this. For example, if you're going Index, some of these Corpus, underneath their shields have armor, so bear that one in mind. One shot. The slashes. They're not even that powerful slashes. You know why the slashes aren't that powerful? Because I'm not using Vital on the weapon. If I was to use Vital on the weapon right now, it would also increase the damage that those slashes deal, because that's how powerful Vital is right now. But I don't need to. 4 slashes on the target, the number is 8,000, easy mode gameplay every day. Now when it comes to the Corrupted Heavy Goons, 6 slashes, not enough. Another shot, 12 slashes, enough. Roughly 2 shots, that's what you're gonna be needing to kill a level 120 Corrupted Heavy Gunners. Look at that, 15 slashes. If you want more value for your slashes, build Vital on the weapon, my friends, okay? With the 260-60 Vital mods, the Toxin one and the Cold one. I think this one might actually require 3. Nah, 10 slashes, more than enough. Look what an MR4 weapon, that's a one shot by the way. 20,000, 13 slashes, a single shot. This is what an MR4 weapon can do when modded correctly, and yes, when you have the appropriate tools for the job. In this case, the Riven is the star of the show, okay? It's an amazing Riven. Critical chance damage multi-shot. It's beautiful, fantastic. Having crit on it helps with Hunter Munitions, and you can one-shot high-level targets you're not even gonna see in Sortie Free level 120 corrupted heavy goons, or if you're gonna see them maybe if Sortie Free is a survival and there are actual corrupted units there. You see, it's a lot of ifs and maybes. This is what the Hex Shotgun, a Mastery Rank 4 weapon, can do. So if you love a weapon in Warframe, one shot by the way, look, you can get it to insane levels. Don't judge a weapon based on its Mastery Rank. Don't judge a weapon based on how cheap it is. It can be an absolute monster, and this is what the Hex Shotgun is capable of. And keep in mind that I'm doing this without any outside buffs, which you will get some in missions. But it's finally time, my friends, to bump up everything with Warframe buffs, and for that we're going to be using Lady Mirage Prime. Now, there are a couple of frames that you can use the heck with. For example, you can go with Lord Harrow. Harrow, my friends, will give you critical chance. He's fantastic. Bonus additive after critical chance, which ignores the base critical chance of your Hex Shotgun. So bear that one in mind. If I'm going to be getting my critical chance from Harrow, again, it stacks on top of what you already have. It doesn't care about the base. Then I no longer need Laser Sight. I no longer need Blunderbuss. And instead, I just can pile up something like more critical damage. You can get a lot more critical damage with Shrapnel Shot. This one is obtained from Lua Spy missions. If you don't know how to do a Lua Spy mission, super easy. All you need is a Limbo, Mastery Rank, nothing. It doesn't matter. Link the cards right now. Nice and quick, I promise. 99% critical damage when aiming for 9 seconds. It's an on-kill effect. Even this one is a lot more powerful than Ravage. What else can I get on my weapon? Well, it's pointless to put any critical chance on, right? So instead, what I'm going to be doing is adding one heat mod to the weapon. Actually, I'm going to go with the 60-60 heat mod over Blaze. Take a look at this one. A bit more status chance and a bit of heat on the weapon. Critical chance from Harrow. Let's take a look at what kind of buffs Harrow will offer us. Corrosive Projection is the most used aura in Warframe. I think. I don't have access to the stats, but it's simply that powerful because it reduces enemy armor by 18%. It used to be a whole lot more powerful than before, but it's still quote-unquote meta. But if you're not fighting targets with have armor, use whatever aura you want. Something like your Energy Siphon. Maybe you want something like your Shotgun Amp to give you a bit more damage to shotguns. But from my point of view, don't think about the aura too much. If your build revolves around something like Energy Siphon, Rejuvenation, Power Donation, Growing Power, whatever, use your favorite aura. Arcanes, something that is definitely not new player friendly. Arcanes can be farmed by doing Eidolons on Cetus, or you can also farm them by doing Scarlet Spear. If the Scarlet Spear event is active for you, do Scarlet Spear. It's a lot easier. Now this one is Arcane Avenger R5. On damage, 21% chance for plus 45% critical chance for 12 seconds. It's a bonus additive after effect. It simply stacks on top of what you already have. And to make sure you understand what that means, if your weapon has a 1% critical chance and you get the bonus from Arcane Avenger, is going to go to 46% critical chance. This arcane is so fantastic. It applies to your primary weapon, to your secondary weapon, to your melee weapon. Is probably the most powerful offensive arcane in Warframe. As for your second arcane, well, our second arcane, we're gonna go with Arcane Rage. On headshot, R5, 15% chance for plus 180% damage to primary weapons for 24 seconds. Now let's see what the mighty Lord Harrow can do. Oh, wait, there's still one more thing which I keep forgetting to mention. Get yourself a Sentinel. Any Sentinel will do, my friends, any of them. And on your Sentinel's weapon, use the Vigilante mods. Vigilante Offense, Supplies, Fervor, and Armaments. This will get you that 20% chance to enhance critical hits from primary weapons. Now, even if your little Sentinel dies and never comes back to life, you will still retain that bonus for your primary. So bear that one in mind. I know, there's a whole lot of bearing and a whole lot of minds. Corrupted Heavy Goons, level 150. We're going to be unpausing them so they can hit me and I can get me buffs. We're also going to be activating Lord Harrow's 4th ability, which will give us invulnerability for you and for your entire party, 0 fangs included. His second ability will also grant you fire rate as well as reload speed. In the case of the Heck, we can really use that reload speed. Now, I praise Lord Harrow simply because he's one of the most fantastic Warframes in, well, Warframe. He's hard to farm, but 100% worth it. Take a look. I know you guys love the red numbers. I mean, take a look at all the pellets. Fantastic, absolutely freaking glorious. Take a look at this. Take a look, man. Beautiful. This is what Lord Harrow is capable of. While it's not a one-shot, the slashes are absolutely hilarious. It's just like poof and gone. 142,000? I didn't even see that. What was it? 143,000, something like that. Get yourself Lord Harrow, my friends. He's absolutely amazing. And speaking of amazing, did you guys hear of Lady Mirage Prime? The strongest weapon buffer frame in Warframe. Let me show it to you, why not? I mean, it's been an hour anyway, or should be almost an hour by now. Let me show you Lady Mirage Prime. We're gonna be using the exact same things as before: Corrosive Projection, Rage, and Avenger. Only Mirage gets a stupid high damage buff. While on paper, as a percentage, is not as high as Chroma's, it actually does a whole lot more than Chroma's, because Eclipse and Vix Armor work in different ways. One more time as before, Corrupted Heavy Goons level 120, and this time we're going to be activating her free ability for a massive damage increase, my friends. You can get even higher than that. I think you can get over 800 if you're really, really crazy. And of course, her ever so lovely clones. Take a look. Now this one, this one can get a one-shot, right? This one doesn't have the pretty numbers, the pretty red numbers, so crit in Warframe isn't exactly everything. Mirage just simply does flat-out high damage, like so. But the clones she wields, well, the clones she wields don't do nearly as much damage as she does. So bear that one in mind. If you could combine a Warframe between Harrow and Mirage, that would be just absolutely freaking glorious, man. An idea, D? Perhaps. My friends, it's time to draw some conclusions regarding the Hex Shotgun. This will remain probably my favorite weapon in all Warframe. It has nothing to do with power. Never mind power. I don't need that much power to get through Warframe. But it's about the memories that I have attached to this weapon. This was the first powerful weapon I have ever used. The first weapon that actually made me feel like not complete garbage at the game. It was the weapon's merit, not my own. So there's that to take into account. I highly recommend the Hex Shotgun to any player coming into Warframe, and I hope this guide has been useful to you. Please drop a like, favorite, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and if you love the content, consider supporting us via Patreon or perhaps YouTube membership. You get access to super cool perks. Click the join button for more info. As always, my name has been Leyzar, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.